It's a great, great day. It's a good day. Get up. Can't you see the sun shining? I woke up and I rolled out of bed. Got dressed and I left at 10. Check my nails, looking good. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Oh yeah. I know this'll be the day. Oh, yeah. Everything will be okay. Oh, yeah. I kiss my cares all away. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be a good, good day. It's gonna be a good, good day. Good, good day. I think it's finally all gonna go my way. Go my way. Rain or shine, no, I don't mind. This day is mine. I'm gonna chase all those gray clouds away. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. No more crying myself to sleep and thinking better days are a far off dream. Get up and I move my feet, cause I hear music playing on these streets. Oh yeah. Ain't nobody gonna cry today. Ain't nobody gonna die today. I kiss my cares all away. It's gonna be a good, good day. It's gonna be a good, good day. Good, good day. Gonna be a good, good day. I think it's finally all gonna go my way. Rain or shine, no, I don't mind. This day is mine. I'm gonna chase all those gray clouds away. It's gonna be a good day. It's beautiful. It's gonna be a good day. No more crying myself to sleep and thinking better days are a far off dream. Get up and I move my feet, cause I hear music playing. It's gonna be a good, good day. It's gonna be a good, good day. Good, good day. It's a good, good day. I think it's finally all gonna go my way. Rain or shine, no, I don't mind. This day is mine. I'm gonna chase all those gray clouds away. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. Woo! It's a great, great day. It's a good day. Get up. Can't you see the sun shining? I woke up and I rolled out of bed. Got dressed and I left at 10. Check my nails, looking good. It's a beautiful day in the neighborhood. Oh yeah. I know this'll be the day. Oh, yeah. Everything will be okay. Oh, yeah. I kiss my cares all away. Oh, yeah. It's gonna be a good, good day. It's gonna be a good, good day. Good, good day. I think it's finally all gonna go my way. Go my way. Rain or shine, no, I don't mind. This day is mine. I'm gonna chase all those gray clouds away. It's gonna be a good day. It's gonna be a good day. No more crying myself to sleep and thinking better days are a far off dream. Get up and I move my feet, cause I hear music playing on these streets. Oh yeah. Ain't nobody gonna cry today. Ain't nobody gonna die today. I kiss my cares all away. It's gonna be a good, good day. It's gonna be a good, good day. Good, good day. Gonna be a good, good day. I think it's finally all gonna go my way. Rain or shine, no, I don't mind. This day is mine. I'm gonna chase all those gray clouds away. It's gonna be a good day. thinking better days are upon.
Good morning, Shana.
Good morning.
How are you doing on this Tuesday?
Great.
Thank you, everybody out there, for joining us.
Yeah.
It's nice to get to see you guys
I
today.
just realized we wore the same color.
It's Twinning Tuesday, apparently.
And I have a blue coffee mug.
I don't. I got one that probably won't exist on. No, it does. It's weird. Some of the greens work and some don't on the green screen.
It is
It
weird.
works up here like it's crazy. But here it actually is green because it's my chest. Anyways, thank you for being here. We do have some topics for us today.
Yep.
More housing equals less CO2 emissions.
That's interesting.
Yeah, so it's going to help on greenhouse gases getting released, CO2,
And this
because we
article,
put more houses together.
and this article is thanks to our worldwide ERC, the relocation.
Worldwide ERC.
Right.
Yep. Second topic, Shauna, is
What is Senate Bill 1588?
Senate Bill 1588.
We're going to talk about that.
It's about fencing guidelines.
Well,
For
it's about
HOAs.
HOAs, but yes, we're going to dive
breaking it
into
down to just that portion of it right now.
each piece.
We'll
Yeah.
break it down.
Okay?
So it has a couple of components.
Yeah.
Okay. And then maybe the 50-year mortgage. We'll discuss that if we get
50
to it.
year.
50-year. Remember I talked
Interesting.
about that?
Yes, I do.
That was one of my suggestions.
Okay.
Okay. I'm ready to go.
I also want to say something. Tomorrow we have our agent workshop.
Okay.
It's Wednesday.
All right.
And
That's a good
Megan
reminder.
and Katy are going to be hosting it.
Thank
so
you.
they sent an email out. It's about pricing, and it's, I want you guys to be thinking about it and come with your questions, and we can dive into it, and it'll be great discussions. So make sure you look for that email from Megan and be prepared.
Sounds
Great
good.
when it's interactive.
Sounds amazing.
Thank you, Megan, for putting that together. And Katy for helping to host, co-hosting.
Perfect.
All right, let's go.
Are you interested in reducing CO2 emissions? If so, according to the article, more houses is the solution to this.
Okay.
Yep.
Get
So
your hammers out.
that is Shana Acquisto, and she's a luxury real estate broker.
Oh.
But the idea here, according to Worldwide ERC, so Worldwide ERC, what do they kind of do, Shana?
So Worldwide ERC is basically they provide relocation services. They're a mobility company that
Okay.
has mobility partners that help people with their relocation. So they and this is international. This is global. So they have definitely information on. They have great information because they are relocating people all over the world.
Yeah. So I'm going to highlight one part of the article here. Is the average U.S. state has a housing deficit of 79,000 homes. Okay, so we're 79,000 homes short
In each
in
state.
an average state.
Okay.
Okay, so that's a housing deficit. The shortage has become a national issue, and there's a lot of repercussions. The data report finds that building 3.8 million additional homes would help with housing affordability. So if we built, if we break that down, there are 300, I don't know how many million people live in the country,
Yeah.
300 and some million people.
Okay.
So they're saying we need another 3.8 million homes. Okay, so that means for all the people they need 1% more housing compared to how many people there are.
Right.
If there's 300 million people and we need 3.8 million homes,
Okay.
right? We have a 1% problem. But when you extrapolate it, because not 1%, people don't live alone in a home. But it's a big problem, right? And it'll generate a bunch of local revenue because you'll have more taxation and more stuff. So they say that it'll generate $7 billion in additional local revenue. Okay, so that's a lot more tax dollars because they say we need more homes.
So where do these people live now?
I don't know about that, but let's look at this. And it'll also reduce CO2 emissions
Okay.
by 7.7 billion.
Wow.
the equivalent of 7.7 billion because there'll be less miles driven because of all the homes getting built out.
Okay, so they're saying if you build them closer, I guess, like we talked about.
Well, they're just saying if you build more, then people will drive less because they'll be closer to whatever it is. And because there's not homes in those places, people have to drive further. So I don't know that I follow all of the logic.
Right.
But apparently if you have more.
Lacking information, right? So
I don't know. I'm just reporting.
I don't know. We talked about a few days ago about the schools, right? A school district bought a building and housed teachers to keep them closer to work. So I don't know.
Yeah, the idea here is that when you build more homes, that they'll be all over the place, and then people will be driving less, probably marginally less throughout time, because everything should be closer. So right now, if you're, for example, commuting from Denison to Dallas, if you built more homes, that maybe there'd be more jobs in Denison, so to speak, and then you would have to live further out because you wouldn't be able to afford it. And I feel the same thing repeats itself, and they might be missing a variable.
Right, and they need the jobs there in Denison.
Yeah, and then it becomes more expensive
Right.
to live there. Then you move further out because
Yeah.
that same person that lives in Denison now can't afford Denison anymore.
Right.
And it still becomes a problem. So it doesn't matter where you
We saw that in Bozeman.
where you stop. Yeah.
It was a big issue. So,
But anyways,
it is interesting how the information is disseminated and right,
and how you can rationalize something like
Right.
housing and CO2 emissions,
right,
and how they
because
come together, and
to
how
me-
you can support a claim.
more homes means more people, which means more cars. Which I don't know, but that's cool. So build more homes; it'll help us.
Yep. So it is an article from Worldwide ERC. There's a bunch more other items that are hit on in this article
Yeah.
aside from that. But often I just want to compare the hot button items, right?
Yeah.
Because you're hearing it now. Because you hear more about global warming when it's hot outside. And it's currently hot outside, right? It's not
Across the
logical.
whole country.
Yeah, so it's
like
hot.
it's
So now we're going to hear
insane.
about global warming, and we're going to hear about climate change. We're going to hear about all that stuff now. And then when you hear about that, there's going to be solutions. And one of the solutions is to build more houses, because then you'll drive less. So, just anyways.
if you work from home, maybe.
Yeah. Oh, that's a huge one, right? If people just work from home instead of commuting. So
Yeah.
telecommuting must really, really help that out.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, well, we're done with that.
Okay.
Senate Bill 1588. There's quite a few things contained within this to do with HOA.
Right.
But what we're going to discuss right now is what this has to do with just the fencing component.
Right, we're going to break it
within
down.
this.
So Senate Bill 1588 was passed last year, and it was put forth in a way to regulate HOAs. It was
Okay.
felt that they had a little bit too much control, and thanks to realtors, they pushed this agenda, and it got passed. So Senate Bill 1588 in whole is new laws for Texas homeowners and HOAs, right? So,
But right now we're going to
Right
discuss
now-
just fencing.
Right.
Because there's several items within it. And
Right.
we'll hit them over the next couple of days.
so a portion of this is about
Okay.
fencing. We're going to take fencing out of this and talk about only the fencing. So, homeowners anywhere in Texas will be allowed to put up a perimeter fence around their property for added security, front, sides, and or back of property.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. So before, HOAs would regulate and say, hey, you can only have your fences, they regulated the size, the height.
And the
You
materials.
can't have it all the way up
The
to
distance.
the front of the home. It could only be, it has to be 5 feet back. I mean, they had all these specifics regarding fencing. So now they all go away, and the only thing the HOAs will be able to control is the material. of it. So this is for added security. This isn't for privacy. It's for security only. Okay? So...
Okay. So let's talk about that.
Yeah.
Because it appears like now the front of the property.
Right. So...
is what's in question for the most part.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that's really interesting because it specifically states that HOAs cannot restrict it. So a new fence or gate around the front of the driveway, front yard, is allowed. So can you imagine if around the front yard there's a fence, and say you have a front entry, that you have the gate like we have in the back of our house, we gate off the whole backyard, including our driveway, that if people did that in the front, I think that...
Well, now it becomes more European because over there they have a lot of these like perimeter walls.
They do.
Around their property.
They do. You can't even really see the homes. A lot of them.
You can't see the home at all, really. Mm-hmm. And they have like a 10-foot brick wall around their house.
I don't know that I am all on board for this. I understand the security part of it, but I don't know. I guess if they regulate it by material, that you can have the iron gate, right? But I was also thinking about the height. How high can this be? Can it be as tall as your home? So I do think that there's city and county guidelines, right? If you are in not in an unincorporated area, but if you are in the city limits, then you have city guidelines, and I think the cities enforce the height. But there were some subdivisions that said you can only do a 6-foot fence, not
an 8-foot.
Not an 8-foot. And it was like, so you can almost see in some
that was a weird thing, right? I don't think people really liked that.
Into the yard. But this isn't about privacy. This is only addressing security. So,
okay,
you guys just want to...
And then as it goes on just a little bit more, it talks about things around the pool. And so do you want to...
they're allowed to install a perimeter fence around their pool, as well as security cameras and motion sensors on the property without prior approval. So you don't need approval for that. It's just the perimeter around their property that you do still have to seek approval from your HOA for the material only, though. That's the only input they can give, or restriction that they can give. So you can't put security cameras outside of your property, which I don't know. Maybe
I don't know how you would be allowed to put a camera outside your property.
Well, think about this. What if behind our house we have an alley?
Yes.
And there's a little grassy area
right
there, and there's trees. What if we wanted to see who was coming up and down the alley, and we put it in the tree?
Well, it's not our property.
In the alley. I understand, but if you point it towards your driveway to see.
Yeah, but I don't own that property, so I could put it on what I think it's saying, if I'm reading it right, is I could put a camera on the outside of my fence facing outward.
But you can't, because that's outside of your property.
It's on my property.
Is it physically outside of your property, or is it that you're viewing things outside of your property, which would be, we could put it on our fence, but be viewing the alley, which isn't our property.
Well, I think we'll need to clarify that.
Yeah,
one.
I think there's several clarifications that this will, that you'll see. There is I think there's also HOA Reform 2.0 that should be coming out in the next legislative session. There'll be a lot of talk about that.
That one's unique because if that's the case, what it seems like is you'll always have, if there's any type of issue, you would have a camera that would be at like the front of a grocery store or something that would show the front door looking out, right? Like, so think in a city where it shows the front door and the sidewalk.
Yeah.
The security camera there.
But a lot of people have rings that look out to the street.
Yeah.
Right?
So this is kind of like a Big Brother thing, because all of a sudden, if everybody has a camera outside, then you no longer have personal privacy walking down the road, so to speak. So I don't know. These are
Yeah.
interesting topics.
It is interesting, and just so you guys know, it goes into effect September 1st. So
Okay.
we have a little over a month before these are implemented, but it's coming. So it's good to know what these are.
Well, I'm interested to know specifically about that one. If you can now put a camera that, if you can or cannot,
Yeah.
put it on your fence to look out. Mm-hmm. Because if not, then I guess I understand. But if yes, I understand that way too. We just need to clarify.
Yeah, we need to get some
because it's like a civil
clarification,
liberty
because that
thing that walking
is
around in anonymity.
crazy. But if you have buyers that are purchasing right now in an HOA and they bring up fence, and I'm going to change my fence, I'm going to do this, I want to, this is something you need to know about, and they need to know about.
Okay.
So,
Great topic, Shauna.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hard-hitting things
It's good to
inside
know.
there. We'll cover this from every different angle. Don't you worry.
don't you worry.
Well, that's a wrap for us. 2 topics in. That
Yep.
Senate bill, I think, is going to be a good one to cover, Shauna.
Yeah. We're going to talk more about it tomorrow. We'll have another section of it.
All right. And everyone clear your schedule. Make sure it was already clear that you're ready for tomorrow and Wednesday for the agent meeting.
meetings. We
Perfect.
want great discussions and action and, bring up good points so we can dive into them and talk about them and be awesome professionals.
See you tomorrow.
See ya.
Okay, we're ready. More housing. Point at the house. Okay. Okay, Senate Bill 1588. You ready? Perfect. Thank you very much, sir. Much appreciated.
It's a great